Leon Panetta here, the former Secretary of Defense, CI Director, White House Chief of Staff. Leon, these are times that test leaders, you could argue, of both parties, and they have to come together, certainly on this hurricane and the fallout, none of which could have been factored in that it would be the states pushing north that would be suffering the most. What do you make of it all?
Well, one of the responsibilities for the President of the United States is to have to deal with a multitude of crises sometimes. That's just the nature of the job. And right now, the President's facing, and the country's facing, a multitude of crises that need to be addressed. You know, President's doing the right thing by going into the hurricane-damaged areas, assessing what the damage is, and trying to provide support to all of those victims of this horrendous event in our country. But we're going to have to mobilize all of the agencies. We're going to have to provide the funding. I'm assuming that at some point the President may very well have to call Congress back into session in order to approve additional funds for the hurricane. With regards to the port strike, you know, the one thing that we can't afford in this country right now is to damage our economy. We've got a good economy. The last thing you want to do is create a lot of problems that begin to undermine a strong economy. So I think the President has to look at this carefully. If the parties are not working together seriously to come to some kind of conclusion, then I think the President has to invoke Taft-Hartley, get him back to work.
But he's not, doing that, Leon, right? He's not doing it. That surprised a lot of folks. And to your point about, you know, Taft-Hartley, it does provide the President with the power to get an 80-day cooling off period, which is probably what both sides could benefit from, get back to the table. But he's not doing that. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, isn't that risky? I mean, there's no harm in just giving it a cooling off period to almost force discussions.
It is risky not to invoke it, but you know, I understand giving the parties a little room to see if they can negotiate. But the problem is, look, Neil, there's a lot of complex issues here related to new technology and how you deal with that. We went through that on the West Coast in Hollywood, dealing with the whole issue of technology. It took a long time. So we can't just sit back and allow our economy to be seriously impacted in the meantime. So I really do think we've got to get people back to work and the parties back to the negotiating table, negotiating seriously on trying to resolve these issues. That is what I believe would be in the best interest of our country right now.
And the third issue, of course, is this expanding war in the Middle East and everyone waiting to see what Israel does. The President made it very clear that he doesn't think it's a very good idea if Israel is entertaining the idea of hitting Iranian nuclear sites. They seem to, on these issues, have ignored the White House. We're told that in the past as well, and that they didn't even give the White House a heads up as to the timing or the nature of this Hezbollah attack that has brought us to where we are now. What do you make of how that relationship is going? Now, they did help, and there was a concerted effort to jointly knock down these missiles that were coming from Iran. But the fact of the matter is, things are tense. What do you make of it?
No, there's no question. It's not whether we're going to be in a wider war. We are in a wider war right now as we speak.
What do you think? Maybe I wasn't clear, Leon. What do you think of that? Where the President is saying, President Biden, we don't go after these nuclear facilities. I had a Republican senator telling me earlier today, go after the oil facilities, but that alone could be dangerous because you start knocking them out. Oil prices will rocket pretty much across the world. They're already up almost 10% this week.
Neil, when I was Secretary of Defense, Netanyahu wanted to go after some of those nuclear facilities. One of the problems is they're buried deep in the ground.
Right.
Natanz is located very deep in the ground, as are the other nuclear facilities. And I'm not sure that Israel has the capability right now to be able to actually go in and destroy those facilities. So that's one consideration. The other is this. What is intelligence telling us right now? If intelligence is telling us that Iran is proceeding to develop a nuclear weapon, then that frankly concerns not just Israel, but the United States as well, because both of them made very clear that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. So number one, what is the intelligence telling us? If Iran, in fact, is not moving towards developing a nuclear weapon, then the question becomes, what kind of targets should Israel strike at in Iran? I believe they ought to look seriously at military targets. I think they ought to look at, frankly, some of the energy areas as well as targets. What they have to do in the end is make very clear that Iran is going to be weakened as a result of whatever strike Israel conducts.
Thank you for taking the time, Leon. Leon Panetta, the former Secretary of Defense, CIA Director, White House Chief of Staff, you name it, he's had to handle it and deal with it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.